Hey, all my Capricorn friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2025 monthly horoscope. I really hope I'm saying 2025 in these videos because I keep thinking I said 2024. Anyway, bear with me. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Capricorn, I'm referring to Capricorn as the first house. This is Capricorn rising, dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Capricorn Sun and Capricorn Moon, but the house structure will not be the same. So if you don't know your rising sign, you'll want to go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time and location of birth to determine that information. When I talk about a day and a time, I'm referring to the Pacific time zone. So please adjust for your location. Two more announcements. I have created the year 2025, a horoscope for you. It's based again on your rising sign, and there are chapters for each month. And you can go look in January, you can check out February there, and then the months to come. And you can use this throughout the year as a tool. It's a very significant year, and there's a lot of planetary shifts. Also, tomorrow afternoon, today is February 4th. I'm a little tardy on my videos, but tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, I will be doing tarot card spreads based on your specific questions. So you can come into the live, write your question in the chat. We'll be taking them first come, first serve, unless you donate through Super Chat or through Super Thanks, and then you'll move to the head of the class. Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to pull the chart up and let's see what's going on. We're really teeing up March here in February. Okay, so here we see that the first thing I want to talk about is Venus moving into Aries. Aries is your fourth house of home, of hearth, of your country of origin, of your family experience. So we would see the Aries energy really being focused upon from Venus's perspective, because Venus is in detriment in Aries, and she is in modern times. I'm not sure. I think that Venus is necessarily in detriment when she has an awareness of what she wants and she's willing to take on that heroism, that bravery to stand for what she is authentic to her and what she believes in. And then if Venus is not as aware or not as conscious, she could come off hot and angry here. But I think more than anything, she's more self-actualized. When Venus is, or any planet, is at the 0 degree of Aries, it's at the most creative degree because it is the first entry of the soul into the physical experience, where you're doing the ultimate co-creation of integrating the soul and the physical. So she's going to move all the way to 10 degrees, and then she's going to station and retrograde at the beginning of March. So as she moves into your fourth house here in February, she's going to have a lot of thoughts about her skills, her self-worth, about her feminine friendships, about money, about security, about safety, about harmony, and about peace. And she's been having these conversations because they were very much happening throughout the end of January as she was conjunct both Neptune and the North Node in your third house, the third house of communications, but also a house that represents your early childhood experience when you first went to nursery school and grammar school and interacted with other people. So this is a pretty powerful way to start February, with Venus in conjunction with Neptune, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. So this was a very powerful energy, and it could also have made you, I don't know about anybody else, but it made me very much want to just hang out and lay around. It was really hard to find a lot of motivation for me, but that's just a side note. I also want to comment here that we now see that Jupiter has gone direct at 11 degrees of Gemini. Gemini is your, Capricorn is your sixth house of work, of service, of actual mental stress. I think that's a big thing here. And when we're looking at Gemini's sixth house and with Jupiter there, while Jupiter is considered in detriment in Gemini, I believe that Jupiter's a world traveler. So Jupiter's challenge here in Gemini is really taking those big, broad concepts and philosophies and ideas and putting them into the physical world in a way that can be communicated to everybody. Now, Venus, Jupiter is also like Venus, a money planet. And I think here, with it being in your sixth house of work, this is an opportunity for you to really start to take advantage of the trine we see to Mercury here. Now, again, kind of interesting because here's a harmonious aspect with planets that actually do two completely different things. Jupiter comes up with the big visions, well, I'm the visionary, and Mercury is the one who dispenses small bits of information, the taglines. Now, while this is a supportive aspect, I'm not really putting the sun in there for two reasons. One, it's 4 degrees away, 5 degrees away from Jupiter, but more so, it's the communication aspects of these two planets that I think give me an opportunity to implement those bigger ideas if I could just kind of allow myself to pace. That is Jupiter's challenge, is to pace himself and not get too excited and too expansive too quick. So here we're looking at, again, with Jupiter being in your sixth house and Aquarius is your second house, Capricorn. This could be ideas about how to make money and at the same time not skipping over some of the fine details to sort of take the Virgonian aspects of Mercury right now and apply them. So we're doing something systematically. The other thing as we start the month that I think is super powerful is the square between Mars and Chiron. Cancer is your seventh house of partnerships, harmony, peace. It's also professional partnerships, contractual partnerships. And Aries is your fourth house of home. This influence to me is very much challenging because Mars is in detriment and Mars has been cranky. I'll be honest with you. It's not enjoyed its fall here in Cancer. It hasn't been able to express itself naturally. It's had to slow down. It's had to be aware of other people's emotions. It's had to be, in fact, many ways, it's had to review how its energy lands on others. And Mars doesn't necessarily want to pay attention to that all the time. I wasn't being harsh. I was being blunt. Well, your bluntness hurts my feelings. That's Mars's issue right now. Now we go to the idea that Aries is your fourth house. And this could be, something where you have chronically felt people being somehow critical of you and yourself or expecting things out of you that potentially, kind of played to the more responsible and dutiful aspects, obligatory aspects of the Capricorn energy. And that might be the fight that's happening throughout this whole month as we see that Piscean energy start to culminate and new ideas, dreamy ideas, wanting to move into a more spiritually focused life path using your Saturnian energy to build that as you move forward. And that might be a bit of a challenge for those that have been traditionally used to experiencing your energy in a certain way. And that's just the beginning of the month. We go to the 10th now. For me, this is a pretty significant square between Uranus in your fifth house of self-expression, of fun, of pleasure and enjoyment. And that's something I think Pluto was really working on for my Capricorns, which is why I think as Pluto's moved into your second house, it's really here to take you into the future, to use your skills in ways that aren't necessarily always obligatory or responsible, or even being in leadership in a direct way, but rather leadership of the heart, leadership of the soul's joys and the work that is produced through that joy. So what we see here is we see that Uranus is in your fifth house of Taurus, making a square to your second house, Aquarius. And this could potentially be where the sun and I'm thinking Mercury, because we already saw the square happening when Mercury was on the early side of the sun. And here I just think there's this Capricorn, well, how will it work out? Where's my plans? How do I get there? And I don't know that you're supposed to know the how just yet. I think it's part of the starting with the emotional body and then birthing that new sense of self from that place, from that fifth house. What can I do that takes me into that sixth house energy of making money or resources or being of service through things that are joyful, that liberate me from where I've been. Uranus is going to move into the beginnings degrees of Gemini later this year. We're going to get a taste of this acceleration as some of the outer planets go from the dense water and earth signs into the quick moving fiery air signs. We see Pluto's there already. Uranus will be there. And then Neptune will move into fiery Aries and then dip back into Pisces and then settle back into Aries. So there's so big, huge year. So that square is going to present a little bit of challenge. On the 14th, we'll see Mercury move into Pisces. And on the 18th, the sun will move into Pisces. This happens every year, but here what we're looking at, the 12th, we had the full moon. And again, I'm going to be doing a separate video on that. And then as Mercury moves into Pisces with the illumination that the full moon in Leo had to offer, there's this opportunity to start to connect with spirit about how I want to move the story forward. And that's as the sun, which I think is the ego, comes into Pisces, it's an integration. Excited that God is spearheading or inspiring me into my next actions and potentially making the connection that you feel, the communication that you feel with your soul could be feeling more concrete and real to you. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it makes perfect sense to me. And we will see that when we move to the 25th. But first, let's go to the 24th. And this is where Mars has gone direct. Finally, Mars is excited about moving forward in Cancer because it wants to get over into Leo as quickly as possible. But I want to caution, because as Mars moves direct, it will come into another opposition as it moves into Leo with Pluto. So the reflections and taking advantage of this supportive trine here to really look at how I think, to really look at my history, and to be willing on some level to look at the tense square that Mars has been in with Chiron and reinvent the self to be more aligned to the truth of your third house, meaning the truth of your new thoughts, what Pluto did when it moved through the decade and a half that it moved through your first house. Okay, now let's go to the 25th. And here we see the exact conjunction between Mars and Saturn. And I think that this is important because we have the Capricorn degree, 20 degrees. We have Venus stationed at 10 degrees, the Capricorn degree. And now Chiron is at 20 degrees, the Capricorn degree. Fourth house, third house. This is a huge amount of energy here. And in that, it's giving you an opportunity to identify your fears, your obligations, any restrictions, limitations, anything that's been holding authority over you that is no longer truly applicable. And then giving you an opportunity as the planets retrograde to revisit those and replan and rethink in a more creative way and connection and with a more deliberate connection to spirit. So that's really powerful. Again, on the 27th, we have a new moon at 9 degrees of Pisces. I'll be doing a separate video for that. And now let's go to the end of the month. It's a short but powerful month. And there you see it. See all these, I mean, it's really going to be quite powerful. And I want to offer this because, you know, Capricorn, you are a doer, you are a builder, you are a leader. And maybe there could potentially be some time that you get to spend alone. I know the third house isn't traditionally what we think of. We think of it as Gemini and a social house, but this might be where you want to be social or be around people who are more aligned to your creative musings, to the people that bring you peace. You may even start to want to create communities with people that are of the evolving awarenesses and consciousnesses that you are feeling and wanting to integrate into your personal experience. There's kind of a kite here. We see there's this Uranus in Taurus again in your Taurus is your fifth house, making a sextile over to the planets here in Pisces. And then we have Pluto making a bit of a sextile here to Neptune and even the North Node. And then we have the nice legs here from the South Node supporting the transformation and the movement into the future. So there is an incredible amount of energy teeing up for literally the human DNA is evolving as well, because as we become more aware that thoughts are things, we literally are harnessing the tools of the universe. And for my Capricorns, well, oftentimes things can start off in a dutiful, obligatory way where you listen to the elders in your life and you follow those rules. As you have self-actualized through Pluto's transit in your first house, you could be sitting in a chapter where the things that you manifest in the future are so incredibly magical for you that your true leadership hasn't even been seen yet. Because once you release the shackles of obligation and duty and responsibility that are out of balance, you can bring great balance into your sense of responsibility, duty, and obligation. All right, my Capricorns, that's it from me for March. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Hope you can join me tomorrow afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, where I'm going to be answering your questions. Come back next month for your March. Be sure to check out that yearly video. All right, everybody, I'll see you soon. Bye.